Radiate and Educate, Empowering Future Physicians through an International Radiation Oncology Student Newsletter.
Thanks so much for having me here today. So my name is Anthony Alanis. I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley School of Medicine, and I'm here to present an International Radiation Oncology Student Newsletter and the educational impact it has had so far. Oh. So there's a lack of exposure to radiation oncology through the traditional medical school curriculum. And there's also few introductory resources available to medical students to learn about the field for the first time. So we aim to help bridge this knowledge and resource gap. And our primary goal was to do so through creating a newsletter, a national newsletter, or at least initially that was the goal. And a secondary goal we had after starting this newsletter was to create authorship and networking opportunities and to also measure that as an outcome as well. So the Applied Radiation Oncology Journal has a student content committee. 2 years ago, I joined this group, and during one of our Zoom calls, I suggested the idea of making a newsletter that would be geared towards medical students. They gave me the thumbs up to start forming a team to help create this newsletter. So the first place I went to was the Astra website. They have several conversation forums on there, one of them being for students. So I posted a thread asking if anyone would be interested in helping with a newsletter for medical students made by medical students. A large number of people responded. Not everyone stayed. So the people that ended up staying long enough to finish our first draft were actually 3 students without radiation oncologists in their institutions, myself included. But we did meet long enough to create an outline, including an introduction to radiation oncology, a Q&A with a radiation oncologist, hot topics, including late-breaking articles, also opportunities for career advancement, a conference listing for conferences coming up 2 to 6 months after that issue goes out, so that people had at least 2 months to pick up our newsletter and go. And then also other featured content by the journal, such as their podcast and blogs, which also include medical students as well. So we were very fortunate to have the ARO Journal support this newsletter and have it shared through their website. They created a special link on their website just for this newsletter. And they also shared it through their email to all their subscribers and also on all of their social media platforms, including X, which is formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And currently we're measuring the educational impact in terms of number of social media interactions, which differs by the platform being used. Also, we're using clicks and number of links that were opened through the email and the ARO website. We're also measuring the number of opportunities for authorship and networking we've been able to help create for the authorship team. So this is an overview of what the newsletter typically looks like. There can always be more than one Q&A. We have had at least 2 issues where there were more than 2 Q&As. Also, each section can differ in length depending on how many students want to help with that section. And this is what the introduction typically looks like. Topics can range anywhere from a roadmap from being a medical student to becoming a radiation oncologist to specific concepts within the field, like different therapeutic techniques, indications for such, also even research findings as well. This is my favorite section. We try to let each student who wants to write that section let their curiosity guide them so that they're highly motivated to learn more about what they're writing about. And we were very fortunate to have Dr. Gunther contribute her perspective on the field as well. And this is our most recent issue, by the way. And this is what our hot topic section looked like. That is not the abstract for each article. It can contain mostly information from the abstract, but we overall try to make this newsletter as digestible as possible to even a first-year medical student who has no idea what radiation oncology is. And so we really encourage students to take their time writing these paragraphs and make sure that the language is easily digestible. And then here are other featured content, the podcast and blogs, insights is blogs. And then for opportunities for career development, we prefer year-round opportunities. We always feature the ROECSG community since it is year-round for joining. And also we listed it in this issue for the upcoming conference section. And there's hyperlinks to each of those opportunities too, so that students can just click on it and it brings them right to the website for those things. For social media, the most effective platform has been X or Twitter. And outside of social media, the most effective platform for sharing the newsletter and the most effective overall has been through email. So around 4,500 people have received our newsletter through email, and approximately half have been opening it through their emails. And then also the website for ARO has also been pretty effective as well. 168 on average across 5 issue clicks on each of the hyperlinks for the newsletter. So they're opening. And then we have 11 medical students on the authorship team from all across the world, 3 countries, including the United States, Barbados, and India. And we also have currently 6 issues published. Also, I forgot to mention 7 schools total. And so each issue of the newsletter currently has 6 sections, and we can have upwards of 1 student per section. So that's anywhere from 24 opportunities per year for students to get involved and up. So there's really no upper limit currently, and we're actually in the process of expanding the number of sections, but I'll get to that. So each student can contribute to anywhere from 1 to 4 issues per year. We have a rotating assignment schedule. It's just a spreadsheet where we, have numbers assigned to each section, and we try to be as fair as possible with the number of issues that students can get involved with. So you could contribute anywhere from 1 to 4 per year. I think there was one other bullet. Okay, so the ROECSG community has been very gracious to help us recruit new authors. We have at least 3 students who joined through ROECSG, so I just want to mention that. And we are very happy with the amount of interest we're able to foster through sharing this newsletter. I have a classmate that literally just wanted to help just because I told him about the newsletter, so I got to see it up close, like how it can spark some interest. And also we are very happy about the number of opportunities that it's created for students like myself to learn about the field through creating some type of content. And also, I forgot to mention that the Q&A is a great opportunity for any medical student to reach out to a radiation oncologist they may know and say, hey, this is a project I'm part of, and I would really like to see what your perspective is on the field. Would you like to help? That's a great networking opportunity. And I highly encourage every author all the time to help in that fashion to take advantage of it. So future work, we are always recruiting new members through multiple avenues. When we first started the newsletter, I did make a QR code that was linked to a Google form for formal applications, but I quickly realized that people were reaching out from several different directions. So that loss of formality kind of happened naturally, but I think it's good for us to revisit how to do that properly. Again, we'll also continuously measure the impact of our newsletter through social media and any metric that the journal is willing to provide us with. Also, we recently included a QR code on the newsletter so that we could gather more qualitative data on the readers, their demographics, their education level, what section they like the most, how difficult they found our article or our newsletter to be overall, and then also any ideas for future content. So we actually had one response already that was suggesting that we should include salary transparency, case studies, and future outlook for the specialty. I want to thank the following individuals for their tremendous support with getting this newsletter off the ground. Dr. Sarah Ha from Moffitt Cancer Center, Dr. John Suh from Cleveland Clinic, Karen Anderson, the publisher, and Sharon Bresky, the managing editor, and all other executive board members for the journal. Thank you so much. And if you have a moment, please scan this QR code and leave us any type of comment you have about future content that we might be able to include, or just ideas for help sharing the newsletter out. Thank you, and please ask any questions that you might have.